Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the pre-market homework session for Thursday, June the 26th, 2014. My name is Doug McKay. I am the founder and head moderator of Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap is a private venture. It's not a commercial venture. We've had a Skype room, a private Skype room, for, coming up on 5 years and 2 months. My name is Doug McKay. If you're interested in checking it out, send me a Skype request. You will need a Skype account, and I'll be Doug_McKay from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Also, you can, if you want to get more information about what we do or about stealthtrader.com, you can send me an email at d.mckay@stealthtrader.com. Quantum Leap is a self-organized learning environment, and we're just a bunch of retail traders that come together and talk about the market, talk about our trades, talk about what we're seeing, and try to help each other out and learn together. So each morning we come together in these live go-to sessions, and I go through my analysis and set up my hypotheses, my trade levels, and my targets for the day, and hopefully give you guidance along with your trading. Of course, I've got to get the legals out of the way, so I'll do that. This information is for the purpose of educating members who want to expand their knowledge of the business of trading. It's not for trading or investment advice. You and only you are responsible for the trades or investment decisions made. Trading futures or any instrument involves risk loss. Please consider carefully whether futures or options are appropriate to financial situation. Only risk factors should be used when trading futures or options. Investors can lose more than risk in investment. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Any trades that see at Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own trade plan and do your own due diligence. Trading is risky. Okay, so each morning we like to go through the key numbers and take a look at the macro to micro. So let's do that. Of course, the big number above us right now is the 1960. That's our all-time high and our year high and our month high. Our month open is 1921.25. We're trading right now in around 1949 area. So, we've got a pretty even target above and below. And as we're coming into the end of the month, we have to start looking at critical mass. We've got basically 2 trading days, and we'll talk about that when we get to the ATR target. And we're we're basically, roughly at 10 points. 11 points, 12 points, wherever we're fluttering right now, below the year high and our month high, but we're also, not too far off of our month low, and I have our month open. And basically, critical mass is a theory that once you get into the end of the month, the bears and the bulls are going to be fighting it out. And at some point in time, the daily average true range is too great for one side to win or the other side to win, and then you get some capitulation. So let's just take a look at it. So we've got an idea. Right now, our full session 20-day ATR target is 1260. So basically double that, because we've got 2 days left to trading. Is it 2 days or 3 days? Let me just check that out. We've got today, tomorrow, and Monday. So we got 3 days. So basically, you've got 36, thereabouts 38 points in a full session 3-day range, and our month open is still within range. So we have not hit critical mass yet. So this is going to be, and if you read my my Russell, I think this is going to be a really tough trading day today. I think it's going to be rather choppy as they battle it out and see if we can hit critical mass. If we get above, 38, 40 points, away from, that open, the bull or the bears are likely to capitulate, and the buyers will take control and they'll push this higher into the end of the month. So just keep that in mind, and we'll talk about it as we get closer to that critical mass during the course of the day or tomorrow. Nothing really, in terms of the macro numbers. Let's take a look at the micro numbers. You can see that, we're making moves in the Globex in terms of seeing some weakness. Obviously we had some weakness the other day, and then we took it all back yesterday. So yesterday, going into the Globex, we opened at 42.25. We had a high at 45.75 and a Globex low of 37.25. And then we opened up at 37.75. And we had an open drive, and we did not take out the overnight low. We missed it, I think, by one tick, and they just drove it into the range low from yesterday. And I stuck around and I called the trade to try to get everybody into a trade. We were either looking for the rejection of that 39.75 or acceptance into the range with our targets. And then once we got in, you never want to, whoops, sorry. You never want to fade an open drive, and with the action that we were getting yesterday, most of our auction logic clues, our checklists that we were going through, pointed to the fact that we were going to get a vertical day, and so I was trying to keep everybody long and strong because that was the easy trade, and the only place you could really look to get a fade. Yesterday morning was when we went up to that 49.75. We didn't get quite to 49.75. We got to 49. They seem to be front running my levels by about 3 ticks, and it's driving me nuts. But what's a couple ticks amongst friends? Anyway, we did have an open drive. We broke the IB to one side. We had normal variation, so we did not have it was funny because neutral day generally will give you a neutral day the next day. It's a good probability, but the auction logic clues, when we were going through our auction logic clues yesterday morning, they were very, very mixed, with a lot of them showing we open auction out of range, we open auction out of value, we had an open drive, OTF was participating. Those are all signs that we're going to get a vertical development day, but then we had signs, we had to close above and below the VWAP before the IB, so we had signs. It was kind of a mixed signals, but the majority of them were giving us, a clue to a vertical development day, and basically we did have a pretty decent vertical development. Not huge, but it was much easier to trade to the long side than it was to try to fade and get short yesterday. Anyway, our opening swing high 43, opening swing low 37.75. This is one of the variances that I was talking about. A wider than 2-point opening swing generally leads to a rotational day. So we did have mixed signals, but if you did a pro and con checklist, the vertical development won out. Our initial balance high 46.25, initial balance low 37.75 for an 8.5-point IB range. Most of our RTH session numbers were lower yesterday. We had a lower 1230 number, 47.25, a lower high at 53.25, a lower low at 37.75, but we did close higher at 49.25, but our VPOC shifted down to 1945.75. The 20-day ATR ranges right now are finally starting to expand after getting to basically one of the lowest levels that I've seen in the 20-day ranges. But we're now expanding out. Our RTH 20-day is just over 11, our full session just over 12.5, and our Globex is getting back closer to normal. But generally, you want to see that overnight range between 7 and 9 points, and we're at 6.75 points right now. Our value area was lower with a high of 50.75 and low of 43.25, and then we broke the IB, inside of that second pocket. The most average time of breaking the IB to one side or the other has shifted up higher. It's in that second pocket. It used to be between that 9:30 and 9:45 within the first 15 minutes of being set. It's now shifted to the second one. It's generally the most average time, I think, is 9:56 to be exact. Volume was slightly heavier, again 1.2 and 1.5, so we're seeing some participation within the market. Let's go over and take a look at our news for the day. We just had the unemployment claims come out, core PCE, personal spending, and personal income, and I haven't even looked at what we did. So basically, we got a bit of a wiggle, but not much. We, basically overnight, we've come up and accepted this value in around 49, and we have a Globex high of 50.75 and a Globex low of 47, and our VPOC is not going to shift. It's going to stick right on that 49. So let's put in our overnight highs and lows and see what our 20-day ATR targets are. Our overnight high, 1950.75. Boy, that 1950.50 area is really becoming important. We had that week high at 1950.50, and now we've got another high in Globex at 50.75. So our 20-day ATR targets to the upside right now is 1969.50. Remember, that is a measured move up there, so that's interesting. And then our 20-day ATR target full session is at 1938.25, and we'll take a look at what that looks like. Let's go down and take a look at the trends, macro to the micro. I always like to go and keep an eye on the bigger context, so I know. So trend is intact on the monthly, good slope, good separation, got a bit of a technical gap, but the trend is very strong on the monthly. On the weekly, again, good slope, good separation, and the trend is very strong on the weekly. On the daily, same thing, possible head and shoulder pattern setting up here. We failed to get below the 20 SMA. We've lost a little bit of slope and separation, but until we break this, this 20 SMA, the trend is still intact on the daily. Going over to the geometric chart, we had that energy point here up at 1969.25. This is something that is a measured move. It's 69.50 on the ATR, but it's something that we still have to keep an eye on. We're holding the lower line of the the short-term upward sloping fork. I'm not even attempting to try to put in an opposing fork right now because there really isn't any spot that you could put it. Now you really don't want to take your A point from here, B and C here, so you really have to take it here, and I think this is undeveloped. We'd have to go down at a time frame, and I'm not seeing anything, so I'm not going to put the opposing fork in. For today, right now, the key level that you want to see hold is this 1946 area. If we get below that, we now are outside of the lower line in the lower channel of the upward sloping fork, and your target geometrically would be to the center line. We've already rejected the upper line of the midterm upward sloping fork. If we come down and test the center line with that rejection, it would take us down into that 1913, 1914. It's actually 1914.50 that I've got my eye on. If we hold this, you do have a move up today, to that 1969 area. So this is where I'd be keeping my eye on. Go up, and if we break back outside of this range, we should have a good possibility of some capitulation from the bears, and we could go up and see that 1969. I'm not convinced that this high is in. I don't want the high. I don't want to see it new high because I still have my swing short running, and I've got my stop up at 1974.75, and my Theo is at 1992.70 or 92.50. So and I haven't had a chance to work the short side because I was on the train on this down day, and then yesterday it was all about the upside. Let's take a quick look at the trends coming into the RTH session on the intraday. We had a technical gap down here, and we closed it, and we've got an MA hug coming on here. We're at a decision point here. We could get a breakout here, but we don't know what direction. There's no trend on the 4-hour. Going down to the 30-minute, same thing, just sideways consolidation, waiting for one side to give up and go back into price discovery, but we're in balance right now. Going down to the 15-minute, same thing, consolidation, and finally down to the 5, and again, same thing. We have no trend determined. Seeing a little bit of weakness here. We're below the 9 and the 20, but there's no trend intact on any of the intraday time frames. So let's go take a look at the big picture and just take a look at. Now, I was pointing this out to Darren in the room last night. If you looked at this level up here where we were trying to hold value for the 3 days or even the 4-day or the 3-day microcomposite, the most accepted price for your microcomposite VPOC is up here at 1953. But I said, well, that doesn't really change. You could take out your microcomposite and go all the way back to the 18th, and you still don't see. And I think you can take it out even further. You can go. I'm sorry. Yes, I did take it out even further. I built a larger microcomposite going all the way back to 0526, and your most accepted price still is 53. So we come up, and where we started all of this was the breakout from that balance that we were in down at 1858. Then we accepted value, but where we really started this this strong move up is down here at this 1914.50, and that's why I'm saying if we have to come down and pick up buyers, we've already come down to the 1875 level twice. We're likely, if we can't hold, we're going to come all the way down here to the 1914.50. So you got to keep that in mind. But right now we're holding inside of this 2-day value and within the 7-day value. The 7-day microcomposite VPOC is 53, which is in line with the microcomposite that goes back all the way to that 0526, and we're accepting value higher. So this is giving us a clue that in all this move, okay, we're seeing that the buyers and sellers are accepting price up here at 53. Now, it could be that the sellers are stepping in and giving us distribution up here. So, until we get back above 53 and above this 56.75, you got to be, we do have some risk to the downside because we got all this undetermined fair value. This is just ugliness down here. We're in this little distribution between 51.25 and 44, inside of the 2-day value range with the VPOC down here at 42.75. So we've got a couple good trades, but right now inside this area it's kind of choppy. If we get above 51.25, then you got a nice trade into the 53 area again, because they'll go up and look for sellers up there and probably even go to the other side of the balance there and test the the longer term value area high at 55.50 and test the CLVN at 56, and then anything above that I think we go up and make new highs. But if we get below this 44, then you got a nice target down into 42.75 to get funded, and I think you'll actually see a bigger rotation because we've got some repairs. I'd be looking for a rotation at least back down to this 39. We've got a bit of a weak low. It's not real bad, but if we break this 37, then I think we've got a strong move down to into this 29.50. 31 area. So let's take a look at the overnight and start moving our numbers over. So currently right now we have a overnight high at 50.75. It's basically sitting just below the value area of yesterday's profile, and then we've got an overnight low of 47. Pretty tight range overall in the Globex, and then our current Globex VPOC is 49. So we're trading right there right now. We get rid of this. We don't need that. Expand this out so we can take a look at it. So let's take a look with the what the potential trades are. Well, we've got this, pretty decent bell curve, but it's very toothy. You can see that we've got a lot of, undetermined value from yesterday, and we basically wrote it up and wrote it down and created a pretty decent bell curve. Well, anytime you get a pretty decent bell curve, you've got to be thinking, acceptance of value and a breakout. And we have to be looking at this. And so right now we're going to open up basically right in the middle of the distribution, and we've got the overnight high and the overnight low just below us. So it's going to be choppy in here. You've got the naked close at 49.25. We're basically trading right there. So to me, there's no real trade off the open until one of two things happens. We go up and test this overnight high, and test the value area high and break out of it or reject it. This would be the trade that I'd be looking at this morning. So this is going to be a trade area, okay? Because if we break above this this value area, we've already completed the 96% rule of taking out the overnight high or the overnight low, and we're likely to, if we break through it and go through it, you've got a decent target to get funded at 52. So you want to get in and get funded before 52, but you also got this 53 here, the microcomposite VPOC. I think there'll be a strong move outside of value to take and test this 53, which also just happens to be the range high. So that's going to be our first target above, but it's also going to be a trade area, because if we get above and we break out of this range, we're breaking out of a bell curve, okay? We're breaking out of price acceptance, and we're likely to go up, and we've got a decent move with the first target above being up here at that 55.50. So the first target above is going to be 55.50. And then likely to push through, and if we don't get rejection of this 55.50 value area, microcomposite value area high, then we're likely to see some continuation here at 56. But look for the possibility. The reason why you want to get funded, okay, before 55 is that would be the first spot that I would look for responsive buyers to step in. Responsive sellers to step in. They might push through, so I'm going to put a trade area here at 56.75, because you really don't want to come on. Sorry, my buttons just hate me lately. 56.75. You really, you want to try to stay long on this. Okay, so what I would do is wait for the breakout. Okay, if you haven't already gotten long here, you can do an ad here with the target here on your ad. But make sure you keep one running to see if they go and test this 56.75, because if they break this 56.75, there really isn't anything to hold us down here until we get to 58.75, and I think that's weak. I think it's really I'm going to put it in there because you want to make sure you get scaled, but it's really 1960 that I'd be looking at that all-time high, and if we don't reject off of that, get long and strong, because I think we're going to get a bigger move, and I think we're going to see that 1969 target today if we break out of the range. Come on. And then once we're up at 69, there's really nothing more to guide us. I didn't have a chance to check the fib extensions or the measured moves, so I apologize. But put it this way: if we get above 60, do you want to fade an all-time high? No. If you're not long, don't do anything. Go take the rest of the day off. But if you're long, try to hold. Try to build your Theo and take advantage of any moves, counter rotations to add to your position and stay long into that 69. And I wouldn't even try to get out at 69 because I think if we get back into price discovery going into the end of the month, then we're going to get that critical mass, and we are going to get capitulation from the bears, and we could get a bigger move, and test some upper levels and keep moving up towards that 2000. So That's the upside. To the downside, there's the trade that I would be looking at is coming up and taking out the overnight high, but rejecting the value area high and rotating back down in through down towards the VPOC. But there's really nothing I can do, okay, other than that. There's no real edge, okay, between here and this 44. This is really blunt area of the profile, and it's really undetermined value here on the the daily profile. So what are you going to do? Are you going to flip a coin and just try to get in the middle of the chop? There's nothing there. You've got the overnight low target, and you've got the VPOC below, but where do you have to put your stop? Your stop has got to be above this 50.75. That's the only trade that I can see, unless you see some type of a open drive, and the sellers take control right out of the gate, and you've got a strong move down, and we go down and break the overnight low. You could try to get in to the take out the naked VPOC and test the midpoint, but I think it's a dangerous trade. And as anybody knows that's been in this room for any length of time, it's not a matter of what you could trade. It's a matter of I'm going to give you where the low risk trades are, because we don't want newer traders trying to be brave and get in areas that could cause them a lot of pain. So just be careful. The only other area that I would be looking at is this 1944. And you've got the value area low from the 7-day microcomposite, and you've got the CLVN, and you've got the value area low. If we stay inside of here, you're probably going to see an 80% rule kick in, and we come down and test this 43.25 with this 44 just above. So what I would do is I'd be looking to, if I'm short by that time, I'd be looking to get scaled before I get to 44. But if I'm looking to short this, okay, I have to wait until it breaks this 43.25. If I'm going to do an add-on to my short, or I haven't been in a trade I'm looking to trade and we break. But if we bounce off of this and we come down and complete the 80% rule, buyers, responsive buyers step in, then you could take the long, but you can't take the long until you get back up above 44.25. I'm sorry, 44, and then you can get long back into balance of that 45 area. So got a little bit of slush area here. Remember, each side of it is important. So wait for the one side to get broken before you make your move. But if we break below the the value area high, value area low, I should say, we've got a nice target down here on the 2-day, because we've broken out of the 7-day value area, and we're likely to come down, and we're below the CLVN and out of this ugliness right here. We got a decent target down here at 42.75. So I take that 42.75 trade all day long. So that would be the first target below. And then likely to come down here and test the value area low here at, you've got a value area low on the 2-day at 41.25 and a CLVN at 41 with an LVN right there at 40. So I'd be looking to get in and hold until we get down to this 40 level and see how they react to that. And then if they break below that, then you've got a nice strong move down to this 37.75, which is also this key CLVN here. And below that, then I'm thinking we're going to get a move down into this 29.50 area. But we have to look at the potential targets in between. So let's just look at, come on, there's the 37.75, and then below that you've got your open at 34.25 and 34 CHVN. I'd be looking at that 34 area, 34.25 as a good target below. And then the other side of that balance being 33, and between 33 and 32.50, which is the value area high around that 29.50. So I'd be looking for responsive buyers down there in the 33.32. I'm going to use 32.75, and then if we break below that, the whole target, I don't even think 31.25 is a consideration. I really think it's 29.50. Doesn't want. Come on. Okay, and then once we're back down in this area right here, there's, again, this whole area here is super ugly on the composite. So, the other side of that is the 24.50. And then, of course, you've got the 24.50 is the value area low, and then 22.50 is the CLVN. And then everything below that is 1918.75, but the big one I'm watching is 1914.50. You have to pay attention to 1918.75 because that larger microcomposite now, the value area low there, is down at 1918. So they might react off of there. So really watch that 1675 area we were talking about. But if we break that, this is a good short, and I don't think we hold for very long at that point in time. You get a bounce off this 1914.50, but I think we're getting weak down here, and we're likely to get the bigger retrace to come down and test this 1906, 1902 level. Anyway, that's what I'm looking at on the ES in terms of the composite or the profile. Let's just take a quick look at what it looks like on the Renko, see how that Renko with Keltner, oops, wrong one, see how that matches up. Where's my ES Renko? Sorry, there it is. Okay, so right now we're trading. We're getting a little bit of a move up here. We're coming up and testing this value area high. We're going to put in a new overnight high before the Globex even opens, and we're going to break. You might even want to get long now and into this open because it looks like they're going to go hit this 52, right away before we even open. So this is going to change things a little bit. So let me just reverse this for you. When we open now, we're likely going to be right at the overnight high and take it out anyway. I would look to come down here and test the value area high and then see if we got responsive buyers stepping in to hold us outside of value, and then you can take the trade as a reversal trade up into 52 and 53 with the possible breakout above. But then if they break below the 50.75, then I think you got a good trade in to take out the naked close down at 49.25 and a possible rotation back towards to take the overnight low out. But it looks like they're going to make this move and steal our trade in the Globex. A test of the upper Keltner line will take us up into that 55.25 area. Basically our target above at 55 by the time we get there, 55.50 I should say. So I think that's going to get taken out. And our center line is the 49.75. A break below that takes us down to the test of the lower Keltner at 44.25. And that's right down at our trade area. And you can see how the Keltner channel, lines up with our profile. And that's just too bad. They stole this trade already. But what are you going to do? Trade it safe and be careful. We got a couple minutes, so let me just take a look at the gold. We've been talking about. I wasn't expecting any major move in gold this week after going and making our target up here in the 1317 area. Current balance is that 1317. Want to watch the 2850, 2875 area. We'll break out of this balance. We're likely to come up and test that 32, 33 area again. And then there's really nothing to hold us back until we really get up to this 46 and 46.20, possibly even 53. If we rotate back through the the VPOC, microcomposite VPOC is 17. You want to watch this 1311.80. That's the value area low. This is pretty tight right here, but we said that we were going to chop around here this week. If we break below that 1180 area, then you might want to take the short into testing the 1307. CLVN and the range low at 1305. Below this, I think we're going to move back down to this 1293. 1293 is the composite VPOC going back to 2008, so it's the most traded price. I don't think we're going to get away from it this quickly. And we came down and chopped around, and then they went down to that 1242 area that we were watching, and then rotated back up. But we didn't stick here for very long, so I'll be watching this 1307. They could stay above, and we can leave it behind. But if we get below this 1307, I think you've got a really nice trade that could pay you probably almost $2,000 on a one lot if you hold strong with the break below 1307. I think you'll at least get a $700 trade down into this 1299, 1300 area. So watch that. That's going to complete our morning homework session. I'll just, if you want, I got a couple minutes, so we'll bring up the trade room, and I'll just quickly go through what I wrote in terms of the Russell. You know what? Let's not do that way. Let's just look at the chart. All right, and they're doing the same thing. They're going to making new highs. Now, we got a little bit of a different situation with the Russell. What's the actual Globex high on the Russell so far? 79.20, and we're trading right there. So we're gonna take it out. But you've got this range high at 1178.50. And that's a pretty strong move so far. So look for initiative buyers to step in here above range on this open. If we don't come down and test this 78.50 range high, don't try to fade that move, because you're likely going to get a pretty strong move. And I would say that move would take you all the way up. See, the problem is this area is so ugly looking. You've got 1180. You've got 1180, 120. You've got 1182, 30, and really 1183 before you really got anything to lean against. So don't try to fade this move until at least this 83.80. And if you don't see responsive sellers stepping in there, we're probably going to go and test this 1185.10. So watch those levels up there. But don't try to fade anything until 83.80 and wait for a strong reaction for them to rotate. And I'd be looking for them to rotate back down to this 82.30 if that happens. Now, if we get back inside of the range, I think you got a decent move back towards this naked close 1177.30 and a test of the other side of balance and the CLVN here of 1176.30, which is the lower side of balance around the current microcomposite VPOC of 1178. And then if we get below that, that 76.30, that takes out our overnight low, and you're likely to get a continuation down to this 1173.30 area. And then it's just ugliness down here. But if we get inside of value, you first, you want to try to get funded by 1172.60, but I'd be looking for a test of the IB high from yesterday in this LVN at 1171. With this 1170, value area low and the naked VPOC below. I think you'll get a decent trade if we break below the value. We break back into value down to 71 with a possible continuation down here to 1170, and then we see if we bounce from there. If we don't bounce from there, then we got chop, and you can look for the 80% rule to kick in, but it's going to be choppy, in this area all the way down to the 64. With 68, I'd be looking at 68.30 as your main target below 1170. That's your, the 2-day microcomposite VPOC, 1168.30, are the most accepted price for the last 2 days. But it's going to be choppy, and read the rest of it. It's not a day to trade the Russell in my mind, unless we get a clear move to the upside. It's going to be choppy on the low side, but there's a trade. There's a trade off of this this range high down to take out the naked close, and then just hang tight and see if you can pick some spots based on the current profile to continue to stay short and add to your short. I'm not sure what you're asking, Simon. FS 1957, dot 1947. Full session 1957. Can you elaborate that? Oh, was there a mistake on the? I didn't. Howard does the sheet for me, and we were up late last night. Full session low. Full session low should have been 1937.25. That's what I have, and I know our low yesterday was the Globex low at 1937.25. In what calculation, Simon? Are you talking in the full session range low? Oh, the full session low. What was our full session low today? You're right. Sorry, you are right. 1947, and I put in 57. Thanks for that catch. So 1959.60. That's a test of our range high at our all-time high, basically 1960. Good catch. Thank you. All right, so let's just get set up here because we're going to get an open in a minute. Or less than a minute. All right, and there's the move in to take out the naked close on the Russell. So let me just bring up the ES. They're back inside of value. Let's see if they hold the value here. Sorry, gang, I missed it. There's the short right there. Should have been short off of that. Let's see how they treat the retest of it, see if they break back out here. Coming down to test the Keltner center line. Yeah, that was the trade. Still haven't taken out the naked close yet, so. Bank opened up with a gap lower and selling off. Not strong though. Tick is positive, but barely. There's the push to take out the naked close. There's the first close below the Keltner. Looks like they want to go and take out that overnight low. What was our Globex high now? Did we take it out? We did not take it out. 52.50.